Black and white or color? That is the question. Hi, it's Peter here. Choosing between black and white or color is an interesting thing. It's sometimes a color photograph is better than black and white photograph is better. And why I'm doing this now is because the theme for August is street photography in 52 assignments. The thing is that usually the street photographs are black and white, but could they be color? Let's talk about the advantages of color and also advantages of black and white. And let me take my notes so I don't forget anything. Let's start with the advantage of black and white first. Timelessness. Black and white can be an image that doesn't tell the time. Usually it might, in a way that it kind of resembles the past years, because that was the way we photographed way back. Black and white, because that was the only way. There wasn't any color photograph. That's why there is some kind of a nostalgia and also some a romantic feeling about past times. And yeah, they are interesting. And there's one interesting thing also, that we have the impression that people wore black and dark clothes like I'm now. No, they did not. They had very colorful clothes, and that's something that we think because of the black and white images we see from that era, that everything was gray and dull and everything. But that's not true. We had a lot of colors, or they had a lot of colors back then. And then what about color photographs? Yes, realism. The funny thing is that we want to have very realistic images about about streets, and the street photography should be kind of like straight photographs, like they are. But why are we using black and white? Because that's not realistic. We don't see black and white, or most of us don't. We see colors. That's why I think there's more realism in color photographs. And that's one reason to do color. And also colors have a lot of meaning. Different colors are different things in culture, but I will talk about that a bit later. And then another advantage of black and white is focus on composition and texture. I think black and white photographs are harder to make because you don't have the color to play around with. You need to play around with black and white, you need to play around with grayscales, you need to play a lot more with light and shadow and textures. And that can make the whole image making a lot harder. But on the other hand, if you can master that, I think black and white photographs can be really interesting because of the lack of color. You need to guide the viewer's eye with light, shadows, textures, movement, composition. Those things are a lot more important than they are in color photographs, where you have additional element, the color. Another advantage of color photographs, that's the vibrancy and atmosphere, because the color of light is really important, because that can make the atmosphere, or that will make the atmosphere to look something. You gotta look and feel when you have colors. You have different color of light, you have bright light, you have a blue light, you have yellow light, and now I'm talking about the color balance, and that can make the atmosphere totally different, and that's something that you cannot do with black and white. You have other methods to do that. And then we have, for black and white, the emotional impact. The absence of color can enhance the emotional impact, and that almost the thing that we already talked about is the nostalgia and all that comes from black and white images. And then for colors, expressing the culture, because color can be very important in showcasing the brightness of some colors. Some cultures have really bright colors, and with black and white you don't see that. And for example, when I was photographing the graffitis and murals, you need to do that in color, because color is a huge part of the whole thing. You can't do that in black and white because it just doesn't work, because the painter wanted the colors to be the way they are, and that's why those colors have to be recorded. Colors mean different things in different cultures. Some countries, the green is sacred color, and that could be something that you can show in your images. Some things cannot be green in some cultures, and colors have meanings too. Red is color of love and danger, and then you have blue, which is usually emphasizing some colder things, and then you have warm light, which is warmth, which we talk about a little bit later. So all that is something that you need to need to think about. And I do have a video about colors over there if you want to watch it. There are some, ideas about colors and how they make us feel and what do they represent. And that's something that you really should understand if you want to do some color photographs on the streets. And then an advantage of black and white, simplification. That simplifies everything. And in a way I said, whoops, there is some construction going on. Hope it doesn't ruin my audio again. And where was I? Yes, about the simplification, because it makes everything simple. You only have two colors, black and white. And of course, all the grayscales between, so that's kind of like the third color, the gray. And that will make the image a lot more simpler. So it's easier to tell stories in a way, because you don't have distracting elements. You do have the point, and you really have the emphasis on the subject if you are able to do that. It's not very easy, but it's doable if you are good. And then diverse subject matter for color. I already talked about the colors of the streets, the street art and everything. You need to have that in color. And also if you are in a culture that is very colorful and you have very colorful buildings, you have a very colorful people with the clothes and everything, then you want to show that, because that is part of the realism, the true story. The colors, they are really important in that sense. And then we have to remember that it's not right or wrong to do either, because there are no rules in photographs. There are only good photographs and bad photographs, and usually what makes a bad photograph differ from a good photograph is the usage of photograph, because in a way there are no bad photographs. They're all good. It's just the way how you use them. And of course, the decision is about storytelling. What do you want to tell with your image? And what do you want the people to feel? What do you want the people to look at your photograph? That decides if you're using black or white. And then there is the question that should you stick only on black and white or colors? That is one part of making images, is to have a style. Some people do only black and white, some people do only color. And for me, for example, I don't really care. I do both, because like I've said, I photographed a lot of street art and that needs to be colored. But then on the other hand, I also like the classical black and white style. So mixing that style and mixing those in your photographs is a wise thing, unless you want to do only something, which is totally fine. If you've decided and you like black and white, then you will do that. But what I suggest you to do is to experiment with different styles, and if you don't really know what you want, then using both styles and look around. And one good thing is also to go back to your own old images, make the color images look black and white and see what happens, and learn how different colors will be on black and white. For example, red and green are the same color in black and white, so you need to tweak to make a separation of those. So if you have a green tree with red apples, and you don't see the apples because they're all the same color if they're red apples, and a green leaves, they look the same in black and white. So you need to tweak the black and white. And let's see, what else did I have? I lost my notes. Let me open that again. Yeah, I think I've covered everything, but then there is one thing. There are instructions how to send your images for July's storytelling images. And I will have a live stream on the 10th, so send them by Sunday 9th and hope your image gets included. And if you don't know what 52 assignments is, there's a video about that. I hope you can participate. But hey, thanks for watching and bye for now.